Hello everyone, my name is Ralph and welcome to this quick little video helping you hopefully to choose between the PC and Stadia version of FIFA 22. PC of course being the old gen and Stadia being the next gen. I'll also talk about some issues that you might run into, and you will see gameplay from both PC and Stadia as I talk about them. Let's get into it. So the PC version, I got the PC version through EA Play Early Access and played a couple of hours and then saved some so I can compare the two directly. I have to say the old-gen gameplay is pretty close to FIFA 21. There are some additions to gameplay, but you'll plug and play pretty much without any issues. I went in and pretty much during the first game already acclimatized. Some of the new gameplay bits goalkeepers are definitely better than they used to be, including new animations. The ball feels a little bit different, but not by much, but enough that the long shots are in effect like in next gen. You can notice some new animations overall in like dribbling and sprinting, but I wouldn't say it's more changes than from 20 to 21, for example. But it does feel fresher. Career mode, of course, has a little few aesthetic bits missing on PC, like the dynamic tifos, but I don't think it's that much of an issue. So first, for those who don't know, Stadia is a cloud gaming platform. You don't need anything to play games on there, other than the games themselves, of course, and your browser or a device with a screen, because the games are run on their site and broadcasted to you via the internet. You can think of it as a console but in the cloud. So what do I think about Stadia? First let me say I never had a console. The whole experience on Stadia is very console-like and it's very comfortable for me. You have an UI that you can open in the game. You can make screenshots or 30-second clips that are saved directly in the cloud. So I have no complaints about the platform. As for the game, finally, it feels great. The gameplay itself is really a breath of fresh air. It's more comparable to PES gameplay than traditional FIFA, I think. First, it's noticeably harder. I was getting smashed for several games on Legendary until I could at least get a draw. And still I'm not able to dominate games as on old gen. The gameplay overall has just so many different dynamics that you have to change pretty much your whole playstyle. The player position and the ball physics especially are very different. The game itself runs smoothly for me, with occasional hiccups every few games, but I can't tell if it's the original console recording it or my connection. I think the gameplay is up to 60 FPS with 30 FPS cutscenes. Now, there are some requirements for Stadia. First, you need decent internet, minimum 10 megabits download at least, or up to 35 megabits if you want to use the 4K. Stadia is also not available in all countries. There is a list of them that I will put in the description. An issue I've experienced myself is that the game, including menus, was a bit blurry for me on Stadia. I fixed it though. I was on a 1080p monitor, and my guess is that Stadia plays on their end in 4K and then downscales it and sends it to you. I used an extension that is apparently quite popular that lets me force 1440p or a 4K resolution in my 1080p monitor, and it solved it for me and for others. I'll leave a link to it in the description. But if you have 1440p monitor or 4K TV you wanna broadcast it to, you shouldn't even experience that problem probably. The downside is that you might need to keep paying a monthly subscription that they have for the 1440p and 4K if you want to get around that, or it gets fixed with an update. You know, we don't know really. The issue is not present in other games. Another possible problem is input latency that I've also experienced. Not exactly sure how I fixed it. I changed a couple of things in my NVIDIA control panel for my browser. I think the one that did it was setting low latency mode to ultra, which was turned off on default. You can also try power settings to max performance. That's also what I did. Starting with PC, the old gameplay also comes with old problems. The midfield is pretty much like water still. It's very easy to go through. Also, it's kind of hard to defend again, especially the tackling. It's quite hard, you know, the CPU doesn't cross, but that's kind of an issue for the next gen as well. But this time at least the goalkeepers help you, I guess. Also, the colors I've noticed on the old gen are a little bit washed out or desaturated, I feel like. On the other hand, of course, on PC you have mod support, which is by far the best thing going, I think, for PC. And for Stadia, again, the worst thing probably is the inability to mod, and also how much regions and internet connection is restricting you. Another possibility is that you might need to pay that, extra monthly sub for the high resolution. While on PC you might, have a better monitor and just play it on high resolution. I can speak for online modes on Stadia because I don't play that, but there's a fear that the number of players is not gonna be enough to get consistent enough games on your Ultimate Team, for example. So there is something to pay attention about in the next coming couple of weeks as the player counts rise. I should also add that the next gen gameplay also seems to have a slower turn rate of the players, which together with the other changes with the hypermotion makes it really feel more like a simulation game, while the old gen, and previous FIFAs are more arcadey, definitely. So it really depends what you prefer. I personally think that even with the extra monthly subscription, Stadia is worth it for next gen gameplay. It's just too much of breath of fresh air, and if there is one thing that kept me from playing last year, it was the gameplay. And for the mods, I modded my game for the past 2 or 3 years, so I know there's definitely things to improve. And while it made the game better, I think it is not that much more fun than just playing with the imperfections. FIFA always had imperfections, and we just used to sort of work around them and had plenty of fun in spite of them. So for that reason, I'll be playing on Stadia this year. Let me know down below in the comments what was your decision. If you still can't decide, you can stop by on my Twitch twitch.tv/RealFXD, where I'm streaming career mode from Stadia to see how it looks or ask me some additional questions. Or you can leave your questions down below in the comments. So don't forget to like the video if it helped you, and I'll see you next time.